Have you been invited to a project and you are like,
what's going on here?
Like, you feel as if someone blindfold you, drop you in an international market, ask you to like find your way. You understand that feeling? You know, it's just confirm spaghetti code. Trying to get or navigate your way through the code base is hell. Like 9-unit course, you know, all those courses that you must not fail but to pass an award. And that happens because more often engineers ignores the importance of design patterns, which is what we're about to talk about right now. Right. What is design patterns? Design patterns are templates or common solutions to recurring problems. It's not a rule, a law, something you have to follow, a couple of boilerplates you have to copy and paste and all that. But it's more like a guide, something that shows you how to structure your code, especially when you are trying to, solve a particular problem. So there are a couple of them out there, right, depending on the resources that you are reading, but I'll be talking about the one that relates more to front end. So I'll be grouping design pattern into 3. This is going to be a long video, but I'll try as much as possible to summarize it and ensure that to be as basic as possible. Now in this video, we'll be talking more about creational patterns. That is the patterns that identify or that guide you on how objects are created in your application. Under this category, there are like 5 or 6, quite a number of them, but I think we'll just be talking about 5. The first pattern we'll be talking about in this category is the factory method pattern. The factory method pattern is an object creation mechanism that uses factory method to create an abstract class. The basic idea of this pattern is that you have a base class with an abstract method. That's a method without a body, more like a skeletal method, right? So, and it allows your subclass to extend it and make modification and then return an instance of that subclass. So now let me bring it home to, say you are developing a UI library and your UI library has inputs, different types of inputs, text area, the text input, the phone number input. These inputs are like different, right? But they have a couple of things that are similar, fundamentals that make an input, right? We have the label, we have the error states, we have a render int and whatever. So rather than manually writing all these things across each input that you have in your library, you will have a factory method that generates an abstract. This abstract contains each of this component, each of this section of the component. So what you just do is just to customize or extend what the abstract method returns to fit into the type of input that you want to create. Now, the advantage of this method now is that it makes your code easier to maintain, easier to read, and easier to extend, and is like extremely useful when you are building UI libraries, just like the way that the illustration that I just gave. The second one we're talking about is the abstract factory method. Now, this is a bit different from factory method. Instead of like creating one object, this one creates families of objects that are related to each other without specifying like the concrete classes. Now, a typical use case of this kind of pattern is your team provider, your platform management, iOS or Android, and so on. The third pattern that we're going to talk about is what they call the builder pattern. The builder pattern is used on complex objects. When you want to build complex objects and you don't want to expose the internal workings of those objects, right? Sometimes when you create objects, the object properties are a bit too large for your constructor to handle. So you have what we call setters within the classes that defines aspect of your classes. We often use this in API query builders and likes. For the final pattern that we're talking about in this video is what is called the singleton pattern. Singleton pattern ensures that only one instance of an object or of anything exists in the entire application. This pattern, I could remember when I worked in a fintech, a very popular fintech, sometimes I think 2 years ago, and the previous developer that was maintaining the code base that was handed over to me uses 2 global states to manage authentication. It's a merchant application. Redux is managing the merchant aspect of the data. The React context is managing the user aspect of the data, and it was just a mess. Singleton pattern will ensure that you have just one global state. It's often used with, like I said, global state, app configurations, and all that. Anyways, that's just it for this video. If you're able to learn something in this video, please share with somebody so they can learn. In the next video, we're talking about the structural part. Thank you very much. See you in my next video. Bye.